This is the Kpopcast, and in this episode we talk about Jungkook smoking, 50/50's continued legal battle, Blackpink facing a fierce French critique, and the Netflix show Risqué Business, Taiwan.
We also get into art song choices.
We talk about Hwasa's I Love My Body, Eric Nam entering into his weekend era.
Wannabe 80s era.
Oh, and we talk about, oh my gosh, at length, Street Woman Fighter Season 2.
Yeah, Red Lick taking licks.
And now, for some hit replays.
Hi everyone, I'm Virginia Dwan, also known as the Mandarin Mama.
Hi, I'm Peter Lowe, aka DJ Peter Lowe.
And hello everybody, this is your PD and Michaela, and hit replays are what we call K-pop songs you should totally check out each week. So kick us off, Peter. What is your hit replay for this week?
All right, so my hit replay was the Meghan Trainor Body Positivity song by Hwasa, aka I Love My Body. Alright, so if you didn't know, Hwasa is a South Korean singer and rapper, newly signed with P Nation. She signed contract on stage. I forget at which performance, but it was a big episode. You know, she's trying to make a big deal out of it, or P Nation was. And she is also a member of the girl group Mamamoo, where she made her debut in 2014. Among other group activities, Hwasa did solo work in 2019 with her really catchy song, Twit. And then the following year, she did Maria. And then she also did that song, I'm a Bee, which was really good. Like, all three of those are, like, super catchy songs. And she received Artist of the Year in 2019 at the Golden Disc Awards and Song of the Year at the 2020 Asian Pop Music Awards.
Yeah,
all right, so
arguably the most successful soloist out of Mamamoo.
Yeah, well, she's had the most catchy songs, if I could say so. So her title track, I Love My Body, this is from the release, encourages listeners to embrace every part of themselves, both the beautiful and the strange parts. It touches upon how critical society can be about physical appearances and how we are expected to meet those expectations in order to be considered quote-unquote beautiful in their eyes. The song, however, celebrates all ages and looks and wants everyone to love themselves for who they truly are. Not a cliche girl crush empowerment concept at all. No, it very is cliche, but I dig it. Hwasa herself, she's known, I guess, for giving this like mini speech at concerts and things about how she herself is not the Korean view of beauty, and like as her like revenge story, she said, well, I will redefine what the new beauty standard is and make it my own, like make it me, right? And I'm totally for Hwasa and her awesome hips. So yeah, quoting her from the release, she says, "It's been a very long time. It seems like I cannot even remember what thoughts have been blocking me until now. One thing is certain, I am truly happy and thankful." Commenting on the solo comeback after 2 years, I guess. Yeah, so it's a good song. I guess, sorry, maybe I'll stop talking and let you guys reflect, but one last thing I would say is the dancer, I'm going to mispronounce her name, Haewon Kim. I've noticed she's been in a lot of Hwasa's solo tracks, and she's actually a dancer I've been following just for seeing her with other K-pop acts and idols. And apparently, if I'm reading her Instagram correctly, she was a co-director or choreographer for this music video and this song choreography. I would have liked to have seen more diverse body types given the theme of
Is
the
it
song.
still Korea?
It's still Korea.
Yeah, it's still Korea. Yeah, and we had some good discussion in our Slack. Everyone in the Kpopcast Slack was talking about how it is very much a Meghan Trainor song.
But still going back to the original, like Mamamoo doo-wop-y sound that she originally debuted with. So even though we compared to Meghan Trainor, it's still actually comparing it to what Hwasa has done before.
Right, and Mamamoo, right?
Oh yeah,
so that's what. Who was it in the Slack?
It's like their debut song, right?
Mr. Ambiguous. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's what DJ John and Joe Dorsey were both saying in the Slack. And they came out, they debuted Meghan Trainor and Mamamoo within a week of each other.
Oh.
So that's when doo-wop was in vogue, I guess.
That was such an Asian sound
in the pop scene.
I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah. I love what is it? What it's baritone? No, what brass instrument? But the really low end brass instrument that you're always getting to do up.
Trombone?
No, not that low. More. It's like the lower end saxophone.
Oh,
like
a baritone sax.
Baritone sax.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
Shout out to my baritone sax players.
Yeah.
I was one of them in high school.
Oh, hey girl. Okay. Yeah. So you relate to this song, Michaela?
I mean, yes, as somebody, I love a good, feel good, make you feel good kind of song, even though it is cliche. Like we said, she, for Korean standards, has always been criticized for being thicker than average, especially when it comes to the idol standard. Mm-hmm. So even though it is cliche, it's still something that, you feel an emotional connection when Hwasa's singing it.
Yeah. And Virginia, what's your hit replay?
Okay, so my hit replay is really new. It's Sink or Swim by Eric Nam. It's the 6th track on his newest album, which dropped today. The album is called House on a Hill. And I really, really like Sink or Swim. It reminds me of the 80s and The Weeknd, but not problematic. And it's totally danceable and repeatable, and I just really enjoy it.
I'm with you either way, to sink or to swim with you.
And so here's some wiki facts about Eric Nam, in case you don't know who he is. He's a 34-year-old Atlanta-born American singer-songwriter, actor, based primarily in South Korea. He used to host after-school special with Jamie and Kevin. And he is an independent artist, runs Dive Studios, or I think his younger brother Brian does.
It's like a whole family thing.
Yeah, and his middle brother, his first younger brother, Eddie, is his manager. So I guess Eric's the face of Dive Studios. So he has several podcasts with them. And Dive Studios is a pretty popular podcast forum now, I guess.
We've had Teresa on the show before, who was the one behind the scenes
on
Dive Studios. Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah. And I guess the reason why it's a hit replay is it's just, I feel like Eric really excels at indie pop.
Yeah.
If that makes and it just embodies what I love about indie pop, right? It's it's very on brand. It's very is it anything remarkably breaking music? No. But it's just really well done. It's a good song. And it's just sad enough. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah, if something's too happy, then it's treacly and you're oh, dude, just go away. That's the type of person I am. But this one's happy but sad. And if I paid attention to the lyrics more, I would know what the song's about, but I do not. And I did not for the song yet. So I apologize. But
I'm really glad you brought this one up. I really, really like this song. and I think exactly for the reasons you described. Like, it's like the 80s. Oh my god, what's the genre called? Like Jackson Wang also did it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like you're driving late at night
Mm-hmm.
vibe. Like synth. Synth
pop?
is in the it's not synth pop, but synth is somewhere in the word.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hit me after we finish recording. But I wish they made a music video for this song. Like, this is a song ripe for like that visual, colorful, atmospheric. Let's pretend we're in the 80s while driving music video concept.
Yeah.
I think we need more of that from Eric Nam.
Yes, we do.
Okay, PD Nim, your turn. What's your hit replay?
Yeah, so wrapping up this section and moving straight into our Hallyu things with this replay, guys. So my hit replay is the original song for the sub-leader class mission from Street Woman Fighter Season 2. It's Crush, Click Like, featuring Paul Blanco.
Click like, oh, I just wanna see. Click like, oh, no, I wanna see. Rhythm in my drum, sway away. Click like, double wheel, build touch, trouble, click, our girls, fantasy, chemistry, yeah. Rhythm in my drum, sway, whoa.
Yeah, so we've talked about Crush before on the show. We don't really need to get into him. He's Joy's
Wait,
boyfriend.
what is
He's got
Crush's producer tag in his songs? What does he say in the beginning?
He's just Crush. I don't think
Okay,
he has
never
a tag.
mind. Never mind. Okay.
Does he have a tag? Do you know of one?
I thought it was like Crash or like
Probably.
Cray or something like that. So it's like usually they like. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with a different producer tag.
I think you're thinking of Gray.
Oh, Gray. Yeah, you're right. I'm getting mixed up with Gray. Oh, that's really bad. Okay,
No, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, no, Crush, talked about before. Main points, he's Joy from Red Velvet's boyfriend. He owns a very cute dog that doesn't like anybody but him. And he's just one of the top R&B artist producers in Korea. Like, that's really him.
Wait. Name off some other like songs that maybe listeners would recognize.
The J-Hope collab.
The J-Hope collab, the Fancy Child collab,
He's on a lot of OSTs, right?
a lot of OSTs. Oh, it's Beautiful is one of the biggest OST that he did from the drama Guardian or Dokebi.
Mm-hmm.
He sings that at everybody's wedding. all the celebrities like ask him to come sing that at their wedding receptions. But we're not here to talk about Crush really, because again, we talked about it before.
Yes.
Paul Blanco though is the person that I really want to talk about on this song because, first of all, he's a 25-year-old Korean Canadian rapper producer under Ambition Music, which was originally established as like a sub label under Illionaire Records, but after Illionaire kind of got defunct, it's kind of its own thing now. One of the major artists that drive that label is like Changmo and Hashwan. They're, again, really big, established artists in the Korean hip hop scene. But it's been really interesting to watch Paul Blanco's growth over the past 3 years. So, like, the first thing I heard him on was this collaboration album that he did with Changmo back in 2020. And so it was so interesting to see him, like, do this collaboration album with, again, this really big figure in the Korean hip hop scene, and then go on to do a bunch of collaborations and features, and then with other big Korean hip hop artists, and then do Gold Dust on NCT 127's album, and then this year do a feature on RM's Indigo solo debut. What was it? I forget
it
what
was the one with the other woman. Not the other woman, but
Mahalia.
Oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, but anyway, and then now to do this song with Crush on one of the most trendiest Korean TV shows this year. Like, so it's just been crazy to see the exponential growth that he has had as an artist, because one, I really love the tone and the timbre of his voice. Like, I don't know how, like, a better way to say this, but in my mind, his he has the voice that I think RM thinks he has. If that makes sense. Like they have very similar tones, but he is objectively a more stronger singer than RM, being an actual vocalist.
He's really smooth.
Yeah, more smooth, and a lot of the music that he does is acoustic and just like kind of the stuff that you want to play like while you're by a pool kind of vibe. But this song is my hit replay, again, mostly because I love Crush, I love Paul Blanco, but because it's connected again to this show, Street Woman Fighter, which, again, wrapping up this section, unless you guys have any other comments about the song, because I really just want to get to talking about this show.
No, well, by the way, it's Closer, I think is the song you guys were referencing
Closer.
earlier.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
Closer featuring Mahalia and Paul Blanco.
But no, I also want to talk about the show, so let's do it.
Yeah, so Street Woman Fighter, guys. Like, I have recently become obsessed with this show. I mean, we were kind of interested in the first season, and then the spinoff Street Man Fighter. But because, again, this isn't available and to stream anywhere legally, like I wasn't that interested. But this season has just like brought it to a new level by bringing in these foreign dance crews and bringing in like turning the drama up to like 200%.
Oh, that's what I'm seeing on my timeline.
Yes, that is what you're seeing on your timeline, is clips from this show. Because first of all, again, Mnet, they're known for their evil editing. They have very clearly cast the villains of this show. Specifically, relating to this song, I want to talk about Red Lick, because she is a member from the crew Manic Queen. And from the very beginning, Jam Republic, which is the, I guess, international artist collective dance crew, or is like the representative like foreign crew with a bunch of different artists from varying countries. Like from the very beginning, they have been like rivals this whole season. And very specifically, Latrice from Jam Republic and Red Lick have been just going at it this whole season, with Red Lick specifically getting most of the heat, being the villain because of her comments towards Latrice.
Like what?
Well, it's hard because there was a very specific clip that's been going around social media of them doing a one-on-one battle. And at the end, Red Lick, Latrice wins. And Red Lick has this comment about the only reason why she's winning is because of her physique. Like, she has this physique that I can't compete with, her being a Black woman, me as a Korean woman that I can't compare to. So
what was she referring to in like quote unquote physique? Like, knowing that there's probably something being lost in translation between Korean and English, but what?
Well, she actually said that like the Congo like physical, like she just referred to her physical, but it's the microaggression subtext of like, how can I beat this Black woman, specifically me as like this I don't know, Korean woman. She doesn't, in the Korean that she says, there's no very like specific things that she calls out, but it's like a very clear that there's racist undertones in everything that she's saying.
Well, especially since like a lot of times, like, I mean, even in America, right? Like, it's people complain about, like, people police Black American bodies, right? Like, or, you know what I mean? Like, whatever field they're in, right? Like, so it's.
What do you mean by that, Virginia? Like, by policing bodies?
Like, so just take tennis, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have Serena and Venus Williams, and throughout their whole career. And then I think the younger player that's been in the news lately, I forgot her name. Like, their bodies are too manly, right? Like, so, or like, or because Black people are supposed to be more athletic, so they're more, what I mean? It's all these like racial stereotypes of what people use to justify Black bodies being in certain types of fields or being treated a certain way. It plays into like maternal health care, why Black women, Black and brown women have higher maternal mortality,
Yeah.
aren't given proper medical care because there's still this belief that Black women don't feel pain.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
Yeah.
right? So it's all of a part of like villainizing Black bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, this clip specifically has been going around, but if you watch the actual episode, Mnet completely cut it out. It was only included in the teaser for the episode before it came out. So they know exactly what they're doing when it comes to the kinds of things that they're throwing out there for the marketing of this show. And so this specific clip didn't really make it in, but they still included all these other comments that especially the other Korean dancers said about Latrice, about her being unprofessional and her choreography only uses her hips. Like there's still other stuff that they included.
Wow.
Like
maybe they just shouldn't suck.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Because again, if you watch the music video for this song Click Like Latrice has this amazing dance break that she had to cut short because everybody was complaining they didn't get enough time, but she still kills it with the 8 count that she has in heels.
Yeah. So huge caveat, I haven't seen the show. So I'm kind of hearing this through the grapevine, but so much of K-pop choreography in general is copying and using Black dance and choreography to begin with. I don't know, it feels a little bit like this is our Korean saying this is our dance. It's but did you see where this what styles you're copying, and who are the choreographers for a lot of these different K-pop point dances and stuff? It's it mostly comes from Black creatives to begin with. So it just feels really weird for these comments around, well, there were other clips around well, hey, this song didn't work because it didn't take into account the lyrical interpretation of the song.
Yeah, and that was a big thing too. They were calling her basically calling her lazy. They were like, why didn't you take time to learn
understand
the lyrics or understand the lyrics? Do you not care enough about this? Aren't you desperate like we are? But no, she focused on the lyrics, especially the English ones that she could understand, but she cared more about the musicality. Whereas in the other dancers were just doing they were just again acting sexy, but not necessarily in a way that fit the actual song.
Yeah. So there's this one aspect, and I definitely agree with it in the ballroom world. I don't even need to speak the same verbal language as people I dance with, but you communicate through dance, and you get a lot through the music and the sound as well. And there was this other critique going around around how when she was choreographing I guess her songs she didn't do it in an exact numeric count for dancers.
Yeah,
and that was
so
hard for
because
them.
she won the one-on-one battle with Red Lick, she became the main dancer for this performance of sub leaders that performed this song together. And so because they picked her dance that she choreographed, it was her job to teach it to the other sub leaders in the team. But because again she was nervous and maybe it had been her first time again teaching the choreography, she was not as confident and was stumbling a little bit, or at least that was the editing that they showed of her just struggling to teach everybody the counts. And then you would have these talking heads of she didn't really explain it very well, and it was really hard to understand, and not just the language barrier, but also just her expressing the movements.
Go ahead, Virginia.
I was just gonna say, I mean, I've never watched the show, but is it a dance teaching show or is it a dance show?
It's a dance show. These are
okay. So I mean, just because you're a good dancer doesn't mean you're a good teacher, right? Or just because you can create moves doesn't mean you're good at. These are discrete skills, right? They're they're separate, they're related, and it would be nice, but At this point, you're just jealous.
Yeah, exactly. Jealous, and then just crazy. There's so much crying. Like, there's so much useless crying of like, and again, I love a show with women being able to express their emotions, but these aren't those kinds of tears. They're the pity me kind of tears that are just annoying.
Well, I imagine this is already a very stressful, competitive environment, and then for a lot of the dancers, competitors, you're introducing this quite literally foreign aspect and variable here that they're not used to working with or thinking about or dealing with, that it probably raises the stakes for them even more, and they're probably unfairly lashing out around different things to find a scapegoat for problems they've got. Yeah, I think it's funny, to your point, like Virginia, like being a teacher versus a dancer. When I was looking at these clips of like, well, she's giving the lesson, or not the lesson, but like imparting the choreography to like a group. Yeah, like as like a ballroom dancer, I definitely prefer getting stuff by the count, like the numeric count, and so I know like exactly how much time it takes per movement. But I've also been to like dance classes where they don't do that.
Yeah.
And in that latter case, it requires that you already have like some baseline dance rhythm and vocabulary and expertise. And I think that's the problem, and it points to this like bigger epistemic like issue in K-pop in general, where like you remember, you learn to dance through memorized choreography rather than vocabulary, rhythm, and like improvisation. So that's why I think often when you see like K-pop idols dancing freestyle, it's like they're just doing choreography to dances they've done before, or sometimes they accidentally leak choreography to the song that is not yet out yet, because that's all they've got, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair, like a lot of these idols are so young, it's like, when are they going to have time to learn these like foundational skills when they have to be like this world-class like singer, dancer, personality? They've only have so many years of professional experience. But yeah, sorry, that was just a sub point I wanted to make. But Michaela, was there more that you had to say?
No, that was it. I mean, again, we're only 3 episodes into the show.
Dude,
we're
only
like
3?
barely halfway there, and
Nice.
I'm living for the mess. But I will. The last point I will, just to wrap up this talk about Street Woman Fighter, was that at the end of the episode, or the beginning of episode 3, the leaders got to choose the worst dancer in their.
Oh God!
And so Latrice gave worst dancer to Red Lick. So she got back at her for and she did it with poise and grace. It wasn't like she's the worst dancer that I don't like her. It was like she has been combative. She hasn't really been working as a team member. Like she straight up called her out, and it was glorious. I cackled. I scared my dog.
Okay, we don't love scaring pets. We don't condone that.
Okay, Virginia, it's your turn. So what's your your hot issue?
All right, so there's this new show on Netflix. I don't know if it's new. It's new to me. Called Risqué Business, and there's 2 seasons.
This one's new. I mean, the show is new, but isn't new. But this specific Taiwan version is new. Okay.
So it's Risqué Business Taiwan, which is the 2nd season of the show. It's a Korean talk show on Netflix. And it's hosted by comedian Shin Dong-yup. Fun fact, his name is very similar or identical to this very famous Taiwanese beef jerky. So everyone comments on it every time he introduces himself.
I mean, I'm sorry. But how can you not if you're, go ahead.
Yeah, it amuses me greatly. And then the other host is singer Song Si-kyung. And they dive into like adult entertainment. The first season was in Japan, and this season is in Taiwan. And they meet like people from all sorts of lifestyles to demystify taboo experiences. And so I started with the Taiwan one because I'm Taiwanese and I spent 8 weeks in Taiwan this summer.
Understandably.
And then it was really cool to just like, they did a whole episode about the area where I lived for 8 weeks.
Oh, wow.
At Ximending, which is like a huge like LGBT like mecca, which funny enough, I was on the other side of the street, so I never saw any of these things other than like rainbows, which was cool. So Taiwan is probably one of the more progressive countries. Yep. It's the only, I think, Asian country that has legalized gay marriage. Mm-hmm. So it was just really cool to kind of see. And then Netflix. Taiwan is also a lot less conservative than a lot of other Asian countries. So it's really kind of cool to see two people who are really, really trying very hard to embody the no homo experience as they host things. You're like, yo, you guys could be a little less like...
They've got like fragile male masculinity issues?
No,
or?
not like that. They're like, oh, he's really handsome, but like, or like, they'll be like,
oh, but I didn't mean it like that. It's like,
yeah,
it's okay, dude.
Or like they're in this. There's this
a
one
straight
episode,
guy can tell another straight guy that his booty is fly. Like that. That's
right.
That's
Or like they're in this like underwear shop. And it's like there's zippers in the front for men, and that some of them are just like little pockets, and so they're like super embarrassed, and like the Sung Si Kyung keeps saying like, oh, I keep thinking of my mother and how she'll like be appalled, or like, so they're obviously a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
But I just really like, well, first of all, it's interesting because it's about sex, right? And sex is always interesting. Second, because I didn't have to work as hard because a lot of it is in Chinese. And so then I learned vocabulary because why would my parents teach me about sex ever? But I've, of course, sadly, promptly forgotten it all. But it was just really cool to see them talk about like same-sex couples, LGBT laws, see parents that are like super supportive, and like who have walked in rallies and parades with their children, talk about like how matter-of-fact people are with like adult videos, and they went to like this Taiwan Adult Expo or whatever, and like it was just, the things you see, you're like, this is bizarre. But it was cool, you're like, they're like fan meetings
in a good way.
Yeah, like fan meetings. Like, just think of an Idol fan meeting, but with, an adult video star, right? Like,
right.
It was like surprisingly wholesome for the subject
context.
matter. And yeah. And like, there were a lot of women, like attendees. So it's just really cool to learn about my people, but also see it from a Korean lens, if that makes sense.
Right.
I don't know. It makes very little sense to me, but I just thought it was really cool.
Do you think, man, I feel bad because like this entire Kpopcast episode, I'm like just talking shit on like on Korean culture and like people. So I just want to acknowledge that like it's
Peter.
not my intention to do that. Like,
speak your truth.
Okay, so acknowledging that and that it's not my intention to do that. Virginia, do you think this show is like intended to talk about things that are taboo in like Korean society, but couldn't be talked about if they like filmed it in Korea? Like, that's why they did Japan and Taiwan, because it would be too taboo to talk about in Korea. But by talking about an underworld of Korea in a different countries, it allows them to broach the topic.
I mean, I feel
taboo,
like
it's illegal in Korea.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where you can't talk about your culture without talking about somebody else's culture, if that makes sense. Like, it's like language, right? Like, you don't see all the unique parts about your language until you're learning someone else's language, right? And so I feel like it's kind of like that. It is a way to examine Korean society in the sense of like how they react to things. Like I think they were in a sex educator discussion, and they had like all these models of penises and like showing and like models of like the vagina and like different sizes and like explaining how to do all these things, you know. And I was actually surprised at how candid that the two Korean hosts were. You know, so I feel like it's a way to introduce topics that they might want to talk about, but that they can examine, that they can see a different way of being, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It kind of, sorry, this may be a contrived like analogy, but you know, Alfred Hitchcock in his movie Rear Window, like they had like the main male protagonist being this disabled guy, so that like the female protagonist could do all like the active, you know, plot progressing things, because culturally in that time, you know, to have like a female do these things would be, you know, taboo. But it was like, you know, Alfred Hitchcock's like sneaky way of doing it. Like I wonder if that was like the intention here with like these hosts, like let's still talk about, you know, these things, because like, you know, we should have these discussions, but you know, we can't do it in a strictly within Korea context.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think the most moving parts, like emotionally resonating parts, were actually when they talked to the parents of like LGBT families. So like a gay couple, and then like a lesbian couple, and like their parents and how they were supported, and they asked a lot of questions like, hey, was it weird for you? Did you have family members? You know, it's just, and then to see the hosts say like, hey, ultimately we want our kids to be happy, and like allow them kind of to model like a more accepting parenting option, you know? So, I mean, of course we would just wish like, hey, just be like this, but you know, that's not fair either, you know? So, or realistic really.
But it builds empathy, right? For, and not that it needs to be exactly that way, but you know, it allows you to broach a topic in a way that ordinarily, if you were to broach that topic locally, you know, your guard might be up, or your visceral reaction might be up, and this is a way to sort of like penetrate the topic otherwise.
Yeah, and then people might not want their faces shown if it's in Korea, right? Yeah. But you really only learn to empathize or like understand another point of view if you see their faces. So I feel like it takes a level of bravery and risk in Korea, but if you talk about it in a different country, it's safer, you know? Yeah. All right, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay. I'll go next. So mine's pretty simple. So my Hallyu thing is the K-pop cover dance database, aka kpopdances.com. So it's a site, I think that's been up not too long. I want to say maybe a little over a year now. But basically it's like the online like archive and repository of like all the video recordings of kids from around the world covering K-pop dances, as well as like random dance plays, or random dance games, or whatever you call it. And for me as a DJ, like I'm looking at this and like, you know, I've got my sources for like scouting and figuring out what's hot, right? Like, you know, we've talked about Kville before on the show, and all these other places. But I think another important thing, and I even tag my music this way, is like I tag some of my K-pop songs by like, what's a dancer favorite, or what's like popular with the dancers. And so going here, you know, like you can predict just by what's popular on the charts, like, okay, yeah, New Jeans ETA, New Jeans Super Shy, AT's Bouncy are predictable, like, you know, songs that you would expect to be popular in the club. But you go here and you can see that, whoa, as of this week, the K-pop group Kiss of Life and their song Shh is actually like the number one most covered K-pop dance song right now. And so that's something that's like, okay, if I was to play this in a club, this is a song I should play because it's going to get all the dancers moving. But maybe isn't, you know, the most popular, you know, on an intellectual listening side, but like popular on a dance side. And that's definitely true. Yeah, it gets the people moving. Because I had a gig last week, and that song, Kiss of Life, was definitely requested a couple of times. So it's like, okay, yeah, this corresponds with what I've been seeing. So I just thought it was really interesting.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Daebak or not. So this is a rapid fire. We'll say the thing, and then we go around saying we're Daebak or not on that thing, however we interpret it. All right, so are you guys Daebak or not on 17 and New Kids on the Block T's special collaboration? What is this? I didn't put this on him in. Michaela, is this?
Yeah, no, it's just the song Dirty Dancing. It features the members of New Kids on the Block and Joshua, DK, and Dino of 17. I believe it's produced by Dem Joints, right? I think so. I like the song. I'm like a lot of other people in the Slack confused by this generational gap of a pairing. But it works for me.
Yeah, I'm listening to it now. I like it. I can get behind this. I'm Daebak.
Yeah, it's just weird to me because New Kids on the Block is my first love. So it's just bizarre for me. But you know what? People should do what they want.
Yeah, there's this really interesting phenomenon of I guess there's been real research with a capital R or science with a capital S done around nostalgia for music. In music that you listen to when you're 15 to 30 are the songs you feel the most nostalgic feels for. I guess that's a defining time of your life. So I'm definitely seeing for sure as a DJ, songs that were popular maybe 10, 15 years ago becoming really popular again. We definitely saw that with boy groups. In the late 90s, early 2000s, a DJ would be dead if they played Backstreet Boys or something in the club. However, if you were to play that now, everyone would sing along, right? And it's
That's because they were the better boy band for music.
Well, okay, sure. But my point being that even though I guess the kids they weren't going to the club back in those days, or even if they did, they don't feel like it. They don't feel that desire to move as they do now, because now it has that nostalgic window and effect. And I think that's also my theory why K-pop club night gigs are getting so popular now too, because all the middle school K-pop kids are now 18 and up. So yeah, and why I can play Gen 2 K-pop songs.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, let's move on. New K-pop boy band Rise changes name amid mid controversy. So their new name is
Brise. So Briize. Changing it from the original fandom name, which they debuted, called Suns.
Oh, sorry, I had to get it in. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so they were originally Rise and Suns, which it's a K-pop name, but the implication of, again, the rising sun and its connection to Japanese colonialism, not the best. So they changed it.
Especially for a Korean band.
A Korean band with one Japanese member too.
Oh,
so
awesome.
It's poor Shotaro.
Yeah.
I don't think the new fandom name is particularly Daebak, but I like the fact that they changed it. So I say that's Daebak.
Yeah, I'll be like Virginia, say it's Daebak for that reason as well.
I'm not. Why do they have a fandom name already? They've only been around barely 2 weeks. I want to go back to the time where we got to know a fandom and then we named them. I don't know. Is it really that much more profitable to have a fandom name this early in the game?
The fandom is the product, right?
I know, but this gives fans the time to be creative. I remember when XOLs used to be exotics. We would give ourselves names, and we would there's already fan collective stuff going on that usually is much better than what the corporate heads at companies can come up with.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I don't know. Business pressure to monetize your brand and your
Then they can have merch faster, right?
yeah. Okay, let's move on. So where are we? NCT Universe Last Start announces final 7 members who will debut in NCT.
So it'll be a 30-member group.
30 members?
27.
I thought it was half the world's population.
27 members is the final count.
Oh, 20.
So-
oh,
Yeah,
Oh
27.
oh,
my-
I guess. Yeah,
Because they lost two,
Oh, yeah.
two went into Rise, and then they gained 7. So-
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
and the Rise members are not part of NCT, but these 7 dudes are.
Got it.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, Mark Lee needs a break.
Doing the
So
heavy
I
lifting
guess
for the
it's
rest of the band. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. Yeah, sure, Daebak. Like, we can stop adding perpetually more members to
Yes,
NCT.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's the Debak part.
I'm always Daebak on new NCT members. More boys, more music, more NCT.
But like, why not more groups?
Yeah, it was a really weird way to try to attempt to scale internationally, and it did not
It kind of
actually
works.
scale. Did it?
Yeah, I mean with Wavy
But that's
and
a totally
NCT
different name.
127. I know it. Like they didn't really keep to the theme, but it still worked.
Well, Wavy works because they're hilarious.
Okay, moving on.
Sorry.
50-50 updates. So Court denies 50-50's request to suspend exclusive contracts with her agency. Oh man, I am
That
super
tracks.
dark place on that. I am not on that.
Not Debak.
Yeah, this not big old not.
And on that line, Attract announces new K-pop girl group amid the legal battle. So that's the label of 50-50.
Not.
Yeah, it's not. It's clearly, hey, we can control these girls. Why don't we just make a group with them
Yeah.
and use this publicity that we're getting right now while we have it?
Yeah, super dark place on that. I'm also not.
Okay, moving on. Are we all not on this, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
not, yeah. Okay, your item, Michaela.
Yes, some happy news. Some happy news. So Gongwon Sonyo have reunited for their 5th anniversary. They had this cute cafe event. This is notable because earlier in the year we found out that their company was actually a paper company, and they were trying to again sue their label for neglect and all the horrible treatment that they had, which they actually were able to do it. They won their lawsuit, and so they got together for their 5th anniversary with fans at this cafe, and it was really sweet to see everybody together, and I just hope for the best for them in the future. So this is a big old Daebak for me because I love my park girls.
Yay. I say
Daebak
Debak.
too. Yeah. Things not being paper companies. Okay. Are you guys Daebak or not? On Stray Kids' Bang Chan saying he's not allowed to continue his live stream series.
Not.
That's a big old nut because there have been so many like memes from their historic events have happened in Bang Chan's live streams.
But I heard
Well-
that he said that it wasn't a company request, but that he has chosen to stop himself.
Which I kind of believe, considering like there have been a few things that he said that he's gotten in trouble for and made apologies for, but I don't know. I feel like it's more of a company thing.
Yeah, I guess I'm not as well. It's funny because like back in 2008, like when social media was really starting to pick up, labels were against their idols going on social media because they couldn't control it as much. But I think what we found is that it enabled and promoted parasocial relationships.
Yes.
More so between the fans and the artists, and such that it's become a viable, marketing business growth tactic. So even if it's doctored, like they do it, or very controlled. But the value of social media was to present like your more a genuine personality and identity and relate with your fans. So I don't know. I guess I'm not, because we're removing that avenue.
I mean, we're in this generation of like the TikTok trainee, in this in the sense that they're these trainees who are building these fan bases online, even before being in groups.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I like seeing how basic my idols are. I'm looking at JK's likes on his TikToks, and I'm like,
stay delusional,
right? Like, I can have a little more distance. It's cool.
There's a slight element of like, don't meet your hero.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come at me. I love JK, but we all know he's basic.
Okay, let's move on. Korea's Directors Guild pushes for bargaining rights and back-end pay. Guys,
to the buck.
Yes.
Especially, like you said, with going back to Netflix, like that Taiwan, that was only possible because Netflix has been investing a lot in these Korean creators, and we want them to be paid.
Yeah, daebak.
Yes.
Okay, so I thought this was a good one to drop in. So former member of Mobiland, Daisy, tweeted earlier that her company spent a lot of money suing for mean comments. And that was part of like, the K-pop business model. Like your company makes you like this like indebted contract worker, not contract worker, but like everything they do to produce you have to pay them for until you get to this like break-even point in the business. So the fact that this business is pinning in all these expenses for things that you don't think are right or strategic is kind of messed up, and Daisy's pointing that out here.
I mean, daebak that she doesn't have to pay for something she doesn't want, but like shitty on the company side. They should just be paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say not as well. But like, it doesn't make sense that the company should have to be the one to whack-a-mole negative comments. Like, there should be more, I don't know, robust like platform policy in place to prevent these sort of things.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not, but also obviously not on the companies pursuing frivolous lawsuits and pinning that on the idol's dime.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have to go in like 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 10 minutes, or do you have to go right now?
I can leave in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Let's power through this last couple here.
Or do you want to just skip to Blackpink?
Oh, whatever.
I think we can go really fast. Okay, are you guys daebak or not on The Idol being canceled after one season?
Daebak.
Yeah, all daebak. The Weeknd super sleaze, even though that was his character, and Jenny's acting was not good on it, and it was just... Okay, you know what? I don't need to talk about more. Okay, so are you guys daebak or not on BTS's RM directly addressing the accusations of sharing an Islamophobic song? So his comments were...
it's for a Frank Ocean song, I believe. Right?
Yeah, he shared a Frank Ocean song, which a lot of other K-pop singers have shared. Mm-hmm. And then allegedly other fandoms started... shit.
as they are to do.
Yes, and then our fandom army started posting shit too, right? Like so, and like very posture-y things. I think it's not daebak that he had to directly address it, but it is daebak that he did directly address it.
Agreed.
Yeah,
and so
I'm daebak on him responding to this. So yeah. Okay, are you guys daebak or not on formerly Brave Girls, or what is now BB Girls, is Yoo Jung confirming that she's in a relationship with a popular actor 2 months after saying that she wasn't?
Daebak?
Not to her lying, but daebak to her relationship. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, I'm daebak to the relationship and her just being public with it, and hopefully, people just living with it and accepting it. Okay, are you guys daebak or not on Jungkook smoking?
I think it's
There's just
daebak.
been so much smoking news in the headlines today, but can you explain a little bit about? I have no idea about this one.
Jungkook is in LA, and then he went with he rolled deep with his entourage of like 3 SUVs and 2 minibuses to a really popular paparazzi celebrity hangout called Matsuhisa. And then he was like, pictures were taken of him smoking out front with his staff friends. And listen, people, do you not know that 33% of South Korean men smoke?
Right.
Do you not know that Marlboro, after they were kicked out of the United States from advertising to children, went to Asia? Like, also, Jungkook, please blow smoke in my face. So, Taebak.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to be not for the judgmental, predictable reasons. Hey man, you shouldn't smoke. It's like me saying to my K-pop idols, "Hey, wear your seatbelt when you drive." You know, like, don't do that. It's not.
I don't want to smell him, but he looks hot.
Yeah, but also I'm not unlike all the reasons you described, Virginia, around like smoking, commercial enterprises moving to Asia, and the Korean population smoking. Like, no, that's not a good thing. No.
That's true.
I'm not on that. Yeah, don't smoke, Jungkook. I'm sorry.
You care for his health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from a positive place. Not like I'm trying to, you're a bad person. But like, come on, man. Like, watch out for yourself.
Yeah, not to smoking, but Daebak, he's an adult. He can do what he wants.
Yes, that sounds much better than what I said.
But I still don't think he should. Okay, moving on. Are you guys Daebak or not on Blackpink's fierce French critique, facing a fierce French critique? So the French publication Le Parisien, like one of the main dailies in France, gave like a very mediocre review to their concert there in Paris. So what do you guys think?
I guess not, but like, I don't know what to expect from a bougie French publication.
Yeah, like I'm not cool with racism if it is,
Oh, if that was like the driving motivation.
Or like, whatever superiority complex people have. But I am Taebak to like telling it like it is. Yeah,
that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Obviously, no, I'm not Daebak on things that are just like thinly veiled racism, or just like being anti boy groups and girls liking what they want, or that being such a bad thing. But I am like very pro on editorial independence and not bowing down to like pressures from fandom.
Mm-hmm. And also, then maybe don't suck.
Yeah.
Okay, wrap it up.
Sorry.
Wait, are you Daebak or not, Michaela?
Daebak for telling it like it is.
Okay. All right. Last one. This is my favorite. So, BB has been making waves recently because she's been seen at a lot of her concerts and performances kissing fans. Especially
like consensually?
I think consensually it seems to be.
Okay.
And it's that question mark that I'm like not on this. Like, yeah, it's probably a great experience for those fans, hopefully. But that ambiguity of it is a not for me.
Oh, ambiguity on it being consensual for the fan?
Yeah, consensual.
Also, COVID still around?
Yeah, that too. Like...
Yeah, I don't know. It really peeved me for a while. Twice they would like do these like pretend like flirty kissy things, and it felt like they were just pandering, to the fandom.
They were doing this to each other or fans?
To each other.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Like, yeah, but I feel like there's maybe a similar element at play here. Like BB is trying to create a new signature as a way to sort of like pander or make news.
Oh, the cost is too high, BB.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. Like, yeah, I guess the more I think about it, I'm not. I was originally going into it, Daebak, but I guess the more I'm thinking about it, yeah. Okay, we done?
Yeah.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
Great job, everyone. Good episode. We'll catch you all next week. Don't forget to follow us in all the places. Where can people follow us online? Virginia, plug your thing.
You can follow me on Twitter, or is it still Twitter? Whatever. Twitter till I die.
X, yeah.
And Instagram at the Mandarin Mama, or you can check out my blog at mandarinmama.com.
You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DJ Peter Lowe.
And I'm at Michaela J. Kpop on Twitter, and I'm going to call it Twitter.
And you can follow all of us at the Kpopcast on those things. Okay, catch you all in the Slack. Bye, everyone.
I got a lot of gum, and I give them going wah, 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 wah. Gold on my wrist, gold on my neck, gold on my wrist, gold on my gold on my wrist, gold on my neck, gold on my wrist, gold on my yeah. Neck glittered up, wrist on disco, gold bullets in my golden pistols.